Tonight, before you allow fear to convince you that your situation will never change, listen carefully, because God may be preparing to fix the very problem that has been stealing your peace for so long. Many people are carrying burdens nobody else understands. Some are losing sleep over financial pressure. Others are silently fighting emotional pain, while many are struggling with disappointments that have shaken their faith deeply. Yet even in moments when life feels heavy and uncertain, God remains fully aware of every hidden battle taking place inside your heart. There are seasons when heaven seems silent, and during those moments people begin questioning whether their prayers are still being heard. But silence does not mean abandonment. Sometimes God works most powerfully behind the scenes while a believer is waiting in faith. Across the world, countless testimonies have shown that one moment in God's presence can completely change the direction of a person's life. That is why tonight matters more than you realize. Your breakthrough may not begin with noise, attention, or public recognition. It may begin quietly while you are listening to this message with an open heart. Teaching NGs inspired by Joshua Selman often remind believers that spiritual strength is built during hidden moments of prayer, surrender, and trust in God's timing. The enemy wants people to become discouraged before their answers arrive because hopelessness weakens expectation. But God specializes in stepping into impossible situations when human strength reaches its limit. There is something mysterious happening in the spiritual realm tonight that many people cannot yet see. While some are preparing to give up completely, heaven may already be arranging restoration, healing, direction, and divine solutions beyond human understanding. Before this message ends, you will understand why this night could become the beginning of a powerful turnaround in your life completely. Many believers never realize how close they are to breakthrough because problems often become most intense right before God begins to move powerfully. There are moments when people feel surrounded by disappointment, confusion, and delay, yet heaven is already preparing answers behind the scenes. Some have prayed for months without seeing visible results, while others are exhausted from carrying emotional pain that nobody else has experienced. She understands. But God has never lost control over your situation, even when circumstances appear impossible. Sometimes the greatest mistake people make is allowing fear to speak louder than faith during difficult seasons. Fear creates hopelessness, but faith keeps the heart connected to the promises of God. Tonight, your spirit needs to remember that no battle is greater than the power of God working on your behalf. Across many spiritual teachings connected to Joshua Selman, believers are encouraged to remain spiritually sensitive during seasons of waiting, because God often performs His deepest work in silence before visible manifestation appears. There are blessings, open doors, and divine answers that cannot be explained through human understanding alone. This is why discouragement becomes dangerous. The enemy understands that if a believer stops expecting God to move, spiritual strength slowly weakens. But tonight, something powerful is happening as you continue listening with faith. There is suspense hidden inside seasons of waiting, because what appears delayed may actually be preparation for something greater than you imagined. Some people are only one prayer, one encounter, or one divine moment away from complete transformation. Imagine going to sleep tonight carrying heavy burdens, then waking tomorrow with unexpected peace, direction, favor, or breakthrough already beginning to unfold. Heaven is capable of changing situations faster than human reasoning can understand. Your responsibility is not to surrender to fear, but to remain connected to God through prayer, trust, and expectation. Tonight may become the turning point where your greatest struggle finally begins to lose its power over your life forever. Tonight, as you prepare to rest, refuse to believe that your situation is beyond God's power, because the same God who performed miracles in impossible situations is still working today. No matter how long your struggle has lasted, no matter how painful the season has become, and no matter how many times disappointment has tried to weaken your faith, God remains faithful to those who continue trusting Him. Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs begin quietly in moments when nobody else can see what heaven is doing. That is why this night is important. Instead of sleeping with anxiety controlling your thoughts, choose to place every burden into the nods of God completely. Release the fear, release the pressure, release the unanswered questions, and allow peace to fill your heart again. Teachings inspired by Joshua Selman continually remind believers that spiritual victory begins when total dependence on God replaces human frustration and hopelessness. God does not abandon His people during difficult seasons. Even when answers seem delayed, He is still arranging events, opening doors, protecting your future, and preparing solutions beyond your understanding. There are moments when heaven works silently while believers continue praying faithfully, without seeing immediate results. But silence is never proof that God has stopped moving. Tonight, believe that your biggest problem is not greater than God's ability to restore, heal, provide, and transform your situation completely. Imagine waking tomorrow with renewed strength, unexpected opportunities, divine favor, and peace that cannot be explained naturally. Imagine realizing that the burden you carried for so long no longer controls your mind because God has already started fighting on your behalf. Before you close your eyes tonight, pray sincerely and trust that heaven is still, listening carefully to every word spoken in faith. Your story is not finished, and your breakthrough may already be closer than you think right now. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.